And welcome back. Our next guest is an author and community leader dedicated to supporting historically black colleges and universities, the HBCUs. And she joins us to speak about how she honors the past while inspiring our future with her latest book, Black Tech, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. Beginning, middle, and end. One, two, three. ABC. All of those things. Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Welcome to the show, Theresa Merritt-Watson. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. So tell us about your beginnings. How did it all start for you? And how did you get involved in what you're doing right about now?
I have always worked with our community, particularly the African American community. Even though I've worked with other communities, I particularly work with African Americans, and I have my children also be part of that community development as well, which I have six of them.
Yeah.
So I got started in looking at our kids have reading issues, have communication issue with the administration of schools, being a liaison for different schools and different families. So I've always been something I've always done, even though my background has been in the business industry until I decided to go back and actually focus on what I feel like my purpose is.
Uh-huh. And so you said, you know what? Let me put the pen to the paper and write a book and put it out there. How,
Well,
how did that interest get sparked?
the interest got sparked. I when I tutor, the when I go into families, children and families in our community, in the Black community, they're very limited to their knowledge of the contribution that African American have made in the development of this country.
Yes.
And so, just about everything that you touch, African American have had a hand in its development. And so if you don't if you go to the table and you don't feel like you're part of the process, you come back, you start withdrawing, you start feeling like you're not part of the system. And so our kids, we see the prison pipeline, and they start testing and looking at kids around the third or fourth grade. But these things are something this would be much easier to take care of in first and second grade or kindergarten. And so our kids get to this level, and you see a progression of them declining in their education. And so what we have, and so what it prompted me to do it is that okay, let me write something, a book that can encourage people to learn their history, to be proud of who they are, uh, to recognize and have the family more involved in the development of their kids' education.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's how I ended up writing. That's how I started out with writing the book. It started out to be a fourth and fifth grade, but then I said, I wanted to be a tabletop where somebody can pick it up, open it up, they'll see Gladys West, they'll learn one thing about her, and then they will have somebody that they can go look up for Black History Month or for anything, any other type of project that they're actually doing at the time.
Yeah, and my producers know I'm going to say this because I'm going to get a copy of your book, and I want you to get a copy of my book, and I think both books can blend in and teach people something very, very, very important about our history. Because in order to know where you're going, you got to know where you've been, know where you are,
Hmm.
to know where you're going. And I like it because your book says the future, black tech, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. There it is right there. And
Yes.
fly high as an eagle. Yeah. All right. I like that.
Well, the
I like that
eagle.
illustration also.
Thank you so much. But I try to. People will ask me what the eagle represents, and the eagle is one of those birds that it doesn't have. When you if a predator, if an animal gets and catch the
Yeah.
eagle doesn't try to fight them. What happens with the eagle flies high and forces you to let go. That's an
Yeah.
encouragement for our community, and it doesn't. You end up losing oxygen, so you have no choice.
Exactly. And it's
And
usually that crow that's annoying to that eagle. So the eagle says, all right, I'll just go way up here. You can't breathe up here like I can.
And exactly, that's exactly what happens. And
Yeah,
so, the road gets tough, the journey is tough, but you
yeah,
keep going and you keep sowing, then you will still make it through. So that's why I had the eagle on the book, um, to represent and give people encouragement. And we continue to make history in today's market. And if you can get the little kids to take it home, to leave home with it,
uh-huh.
once you got something, no one can take it away from you. And you learn something, they can't take it away. So we can have our kids start the school
Yeah.
with a sense of pride, with a sense of ownership, with a
And,
sense of belonging.
and
And I think it would make a difference in how we see and project school. I know the other dynamics of economics, housing, health. That's those things are
uh,
out there. But I'm gonna focus on the education and economic side. And there's a lot of people that's doing the other things that actually help try to change the trajectory of the African American community.
yeah, I like it. My book is People to Know in Black History and Beyond. Yours is Black
Oh,
Tech. How did you come up with the name on your book?
well, the black tech, I had to once I decided my book is written for first to third grade, but once I decided that that was going to be my target market, then I had to decide what would intrigue students to purchase a book, um, parents to purchase a book that it can intrigue kids. And
Hmm.
so I have the cell phone in there with Jesse Russell. I have the Gladys West with the GPS. I have the security system. And the refrigerator. Everything I have in there is relatable to children, and so it wouldn't be like a foreign thing to them. So that's why I ended up doing the tech.
Yeah.
And right now I'm finishing up science, but it's still things that's related that they can relate to. And on the flip side of that, when parents pick it up, what I want to say is I sent this book out to people from 20 to 85. No
Yeah.
one came back knowing more than two people,
Wow.
and I'm talking about black people.
Yeah.
Well, this to some white people as well, but majority of black people, and no one. I'm talking about doctors. Um, I sent it to some of my friends that are physicians, doctors, PhDs,
Yeah.
um, engineers. No one knew more than two people. That so it's a need there to let you see that there is a genuine need for us to learn. Our kids are going to school not knowing anything. They learn about other people. In fact, and in a lot of the schools that I've looked in, they will teach you history and European history, but not a deep dive of Black history, and that should start at a very early age.
Yeah. Do you go to a lot of these schools and let them know about your book, or you do the career days?
I
How
would
are you getting it out there?
Well, I do have a publicist, which um, and I do send information out. But this a lot of the schools I have gone to schools in Georgia, North Carolina, Philadelphia. I've had articles written about it. So getting out into school is one of the things that I really hope for. But
Yeah.
since the summer is coming, I have spent time contacting corporations to see if they will purchase book and let me give it to urban and rural students.
Yeah.
And so I can start that whole notion and idea of the kid of students learning about themselves over the summer. This to me is a drive to send them, actually help them start looking at it before they get back into school in
Yeah.
September.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe we can come up with something where the kids pick up the book and read it. Maybe it'll be something when they come back, showing that they
Yes.
read it. Hit some bullet points that they have to know when they come back, and maybe you can give them a gift card to. It used to be Toys R Us or one of those places where they can go. I don't even know if they still have Toys R Us.
They do. They do.
Yeah, give them a gift
Yeah.
card or something like that. If they, and that could be sponsored by somebody also.
I'm looking forward to some sponsorship. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But
Go ahead.
I want to say one of the other things in the book that I wanted to highlight because there's a lot of children that would not go to college, don't have the desire to go to college. So in my book, you see Frederick Jones, the refrigerator truck, Louis
Yeah.
Latimer, which is all over the world, is his invention, which is the light, uh, the filament for the light.
Yeah.
You see Alexander Mao, the elevator door opener. You go any country, they have an elevator. You can fit. So these things are not just people doing stuff here in the United States,
Yes.
but it's all over the world.
All
You
over
could
the
go to
world.
Africa. There's elevators. There's light. And even though it was sold to GE, it is an invention of a black man. And
Yeah.
so what I want people to do is understand the power that we have instilled in this development of not just the United States but the world. And so these three guys that I named, they're in the book, and they didn't go to college. They didn't go to college. They finished high school,
Yeah.
but they're self-taught engineers and electrical and mechanical
Yeah.
engineers.
They're part of
And so
a vocation. So they stuck
yes,
with that. Yeah. That's a whole nother
and I think
avenue, but that's people are successful with that also.
and people will think that there's no other alternative but college. And I wanted this, so I highlighted that. And then the other
Yeah.
thing that I highlighted is that in the book, it tells you where the individual, the inventor is from, and if they attended a HBCU, and the name of the HBCU, to help people become familiar with the different HBCUs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know some are struggling, so I have my last count was 102. And
Wow.
so, but some is sort of on the borderline, but that's still, as long as you haven't closed, you're still in my count. Um, and so one of the key things here is that with the HBCUs, at one point in time, people were saying there was no use for the HBCUs. There's clearly a use for the HBCU, but I've gone to college fairs, and people didn't know Hampton, didn't know Howard, had never heard of HBCU, just the
Yeah.
term. And when you have people in leadership position do not know HBCUs and do not know um, uh, do not know I'm going to say the core 10 HBCUs. That's a problem in your district, particularly when you're serving a large African American population. So I wanted to highlight that, and also with the HBCUs, no school real endowment except for maybe five, but that still is not as big as a Harvard or something. And we can actually make our endowment in our school big if we just
Yeah.
take every African American decide that they want to donate $5 to whatever school they wanted to. It would make a huge difference
Yeah.
because so there's little things. I do have the PWI. Your educational background is in there, but
Oh, great.
it will always show those two elements to make sure that we capture. Because when our African American boys leave school, if they didn't do well academically, I've seen some do apprenticeship. I've made relationships with HVAC people, and they would agree to hire someone on as an apprentice for
Yeah.
X number of months or years. And he says that his goal is he will groom them for them to open their own business. Now, every time somebody come in my house to working on my air condition, my heat, it costs a lot of money. You
Yeah.
know, I'm paying $100, $200 an hour for that.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's great money in it, and
Mm.
and in fact they can make more than a psychologist or teacher, whatever.
Yeah, but it's always good to look back on on some of the people whose shoulders we stood on, and people who are still doing great things today. And that's why I'm piggybacking off of yours. I don't want to promote my book on yours, but it's similar because this is volume one, I believe it is. People to know in Black history and beyond. And then you see on there Hal Jackson, you see Percy Sutton, Al Sharpton. Percy Sutton and Hal Jackson started the radio station WBLS here in New York, and the business went from there. They acquired about 18 different radio stations across the country, but they were in business. And Percy Sutton once said, you know, um, some people call me a jack of all trades and a master of none. He said, no, I just keep 5 or 6 or 7 businesses because if 1 or 2 or 3 fail, I'm still in business. So stuff like that is in the book just to spark interest, to let people know that people have done these things and you may be interested in something like that. You just have to find your passion. And once you find that passion, you stick with it because when you stick with something long enough, something always happens. Who would have known? I mean, I grew to be almost this age to find out that there were 3 people who helped propel astronauts into space in the 60s. And you came
Hey,
out with
well,
the book Hidden Figures and the movie Hidden Figures. And I said, well, wait a minute. There's still a lot of people that we need to talk about and put out in these books. So I thank you for all that you're doing. But I don't want to promote my book. I just want to just
can you give me the
create.
name of the book again?
I just wanted to create the similarities of people to know in Black history and beyond. Volumes 1, 2, and 3. It's a trilogy now. People to know in Black history and beyond. I guess
And what is your age group?
my age group. This goes through the later parts of junior high school, and college.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a connection. So yours is mostly elementary to
Yes.
eliminate that pipeline to jail, to create the awareness down there that you need to do something to shake yourself away from that. But I think maybe we can get together and do something somewhere to let people know about the history. Because, like I said before, in order to know where you're going, you have to know where you've been, know where you are, to know where you're going. And I think that's
It's a
important.
beautiful book you've written.
Yeah. No, but we're here to highlight yours. My producer just threw that up there because it was the same category, history, and he thought that I should get your book and you should get mine. There's a
Well,
lot in it, you know.
well,
But
I've
thank
gotten
you.
yours.
But thank you for coming on and sharing, and we'll make sure you get yours too. I have about 2.5 minutes left. Are you reaching out to anybody to try to help you in some of the things that you're doing with your organization?
Yes. Let me tell you, my organization. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna take us 30 seconds. My organization. I have a nonprofit called Synergy Training Solutions,
Yeah.
and in some of we have 2 projects. We're partnered with one group. So Synergy has. Our goal is to get some of the corporations to purchase a book so we can give them away to
Yes.
students and
Yes.
start that. So that's one of the elements that we're doing. The second thing that we're doing is that we have a program called Lead and Read, where
Yeah.
the African American Church will join Synergy Training Solution, and in that process, their members of that church will reach out into the community, get an African American student between 4 and 19, and that student will call them on the phone and read to them once a week for
I
10
like
minutes.
that. I like that.
And
Yes.
so that's the other project. And then I've partnered with 3Ps. And 3Ps is an organization where they work with middle and high school students and their passion, pursuit, and purpose. That's what the 3Ps stand for.
Yeah.
And so if you notice it, a lot of times, and I'm going to go back to the elementary for a minute. When a child comes into the earth and start developing, they have an interest and a passion. Now, of course, um, their interest and passion may change, but their purpose will not change.
Yeah.
But so what you see is that sometimes the kids keep expressing their interest and their passion, and it's not nurtured. So you start losing the kids because what they're interested in, you're not nurturing it. And
Yes.
this is what one of the things that I like to be able to share with teachers. How can I nurture when I got 30 kids in my room or when I got 20? And most of the things have a relatable uh, they're relatable to the subjects. It's
Hmm.
how you present that subject. And give you a quick example is that if someone is interested in stars and once somebody's interested in something related to electronics or cell phone, both of those elements have a mathematical component to it. So when you're talking about it, you can relate to the star and you can relate to the components for a cell phone or whatever you're doing, or if you're creating some SOPs and someone thinks that they're a great writer and they're in first grade and they like writing, and you can relate to some of that, some of those things. And so there's ways that you can relate and nurture a kid's interest and passion. So so what I've done is I've worked with 3Ps on the passion, uh, pursuit, and purpose. And so it's more particular when our boys well, I have a passion for boys because I have three of them.
Yes.
But when they leave high school and they decide that they're not going to college, if you haven't educated them properly, and they haven't gotten it, even if they have, the 3Ps will give them the foundation to eventually work through some of the things, and so they can reach their fulfillment in life, so they can actually soar
Yeah.
in life.
There you
So
go.
those are the three, but you can go to synergytrainingsolution.org. You can the book is set up where you can do a book donation. You can call us,
Hmm.
and so that's how. And or you can set up. I love speaking to people about African American education. I do think it'll make a difference, particularly the parents,
Yes.
and particularly the parents. I would like to say sometimes I've gone to school board meeting for many, many years. And a lot of times in the more recent years, you can go to a school board meeting and not even hear the word parent
Yeah.
in a school board meeting.
Where,
And
where,
so
yeah. Where are you located?
I'm physically located at in Philadelphia. My home
Oh,
is
you're right
Chapel Hill,
here.
North.
Okay.
Yeah. And right now I'm located in New York because I'm in New York with my son.
Okay.
Um, but I the thing of it is that I'm in Philadelphia. I'm getting a doctorate right now,
Oh,
and
beautiful.
so
Hey,
I'm
listen,
I'm here.
I have 30 seconds, so give us that website, and we appreciate you, and we love that you're getting the doctorate and everything, and you're always welcome to come back and share more. We've got lots of great space for you to come in and let people know about what you're doing. But give us that website where people can contribute to what you're doing and find out more about your book and what you're doing.
It's
Uh-huh.
synergytrainingsolutions.org.
You got it. Theresa Merritt-Watson, author, Black Tech, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
And good luck to you. All right, we'll
Thank you.
take a break. I've got more. We got a whole lot more coming up next on Open.